Hello all. I have not been able to do any Mokuroku um, texts recently, and I thought I might just do a short and sweet um, video. We'll consider this, I believe, the fourth in a video series. So, I want to show you how to apply some of the concepts we were talking about with pivoting and footwork using a kukri. Okay. Understanding how they apply will help you tremendously in seeing the relevance of practicing these skill sets. The fact that we're using a kukri today should only be incidental, but it should give you a sense of the range, because a kukri is sort of a all-purpose ambush weapon, shock tactics, and it's also fairly common size for blades that are in between sword and knife, and it's also has some characteristics of length to a smaller stick weapon. Okay, so with that being said, let's dive into this. All right. Okay, so first thing I want to get is my distance. All right. So very simple concept here. I'm with this weapon, and we're taught basically a lot of times. In this case, I'm holding in the back. Doesn't matter. You could be front-footed. It's not important. Okay. We're taught, we're going to come across our center line and attack our opponent. Okay. Very first concept to be familiar with is watch when I do that. When I don't move the rest of my body. There's a lot of commitment on my part, okay? Even if I do a very good, series of cuts, whatever the case may be, I'm sort of flat-footed, okay? Even if I cut him, I've got to move, things like that. You always want to practice to anticipate, okay? Now, simple adjustment. My front foot, when I make that cutting movement, I'm going to step over. Okay? And now I'm in a position where I can create distance. I cut past my center line without having to telegraph my cut. And I set myself up for further things that evolve in the conflict. Okay? Watch again. The difference being just coming in this way and taking a step this way. So when I make that cut, I don't even have to move my arm that much. I can literally do it without moving my arm, okay? Now, same idea here, okay? If I'm cutting upwards, all right? A lot of times we might do something where we make a cut here and we're drawing this back to attack along this center line on the opponent, okay? However, if I do something now where I'm in, okay? Now, I can commit myself to my aggressive actions, okay? You don't want to pick at your opponent when you're learning how to use a weapon during a conflict of this nature, okay? Because you'll just get cut back. If I'm here and I do this, then he cuts me here, or I do this, and now I'm back here, okay? You have to resolve the conflict. That's the idea. So if I'm coming in this way, I'm here, boom, and I'm moving offline to make my cuts so I can continue my movement, okay? Very important concept. I have to use this weapon, and one way to train yourself to think is you have to be decisive enough that whatever you're going to do, you have to do it in 10 seconds, okay? We used to have a drill when I was doing my karate where we were prison guards and other people were inmates, and you had to get out of the room fighting, okay? And you simply had to get out of the room, or you would be, for all practical purposes for the drill, dead, okay? You want to think that way when you're using this weapon. Even if you're here and you have to throw it, okay? Same idea. From here, I can just use my body movements to facilitate throwing the weapon. Yes, you may have to throw the weapon. It's possible. Okay. Let's look at this from some other avenues, okay? Defensively, and I'm here, okay? Instead of trying to extend myself, okay? Watch the rotation, okay? Not this, okay? Your shoulder's very weak that way, okay? This. You're spinning, okay? Here, okay? Spin, up, spin, around, spin, around, okay? Just like when you're using a hanbo or a rokushoku, okay? You take advantage of rotational movement, okay? And you're lining your thumb up basically so that it has a pretty good relationship to the point. You may not get it right on here so it's exact, but you want it to guide this point. You don't want to be here or, you know, here in some sloppy way. You want to have control so that you're more or less positioning the point of the weapon, okay? I'm using this hand when I train this way to just be involved and aware, okay? Some of you might think like, well, it's not a bad habit. I'm not putting it out there to do anything in particular, but what I'm trying to get across is a lot of people, they become a fencer when they have a weapon like this. That's also very dangerous. Involving conflicts, ambushes, and such, they don't happen on one line of attack. And if you just make this dead, it could make you dead because you needed to use that. So just understanding that this is in the mix. What I'm not doing, and this comes into our footwork and our pivoting, I'm not crossing these, okay? So I'm not here, whoops, I just cut myself, okay? This is staying to this side of my center line. The kukri is on this side of my center line, okay? So when I'm doing things, this is aware. If I have to cross them, one of them is going to be extended at least a foot, okay, from the other, okay? You train that in so you don't cut yourself. Okay, other aspects of this. We're here, okay? One, okay, coming around to sweep, cutting arm here, okay? Here. I do that with a step, boom. Very easy now to cut while I'm moving. If I'm just stationary here and I just do this, okay? You can do this. You might have to do that sometimes to catch a target, but doing it with your footwork means now I have mobility. I'm moving. So my body is set. If I make that cut, bam, boom, boom, to keep moving as I'm involved in the conflict, okay? Same idea, okay? Cutting this way. What about this way? Okay, if I'm cutting this way, same idea, just out here, okay? Boom, okay? Instead of trying to cut across here, I'm simply moving the whole body. Staying behind this, not doing this. Okay, I'm just simply moving my whole body this way. So that when I make a cut, it's untelegraphed, and again, I'm moving, okay? So, notice the pivots and the footwork with what I'm doing. We'll review that very basically to end the video. The pivots are just essentially putting the foot down where I want to arrive next, okay? Usually it'll be whole foot. Some people, you could use your toe initially or your heel. Okay, the footwork is moving your entire structure so that you have complete stability and power. Everything is connected in the chain, okay? There's nothing here where energy is lost or here with the knee out this way. Okay, when I'm making a cut here, the whole body is stable, okay? And I'm using rotation, okay? I'm simply letting the body rotate around using the spine and the feet, okay? When I'm doing this, the other thing I'm teaching myself is to anticipate without having to think about doing it consciously, okay? I want you to keep that in mind for a follow-up video, because that's a very important concept.